This is it, my friends. This is the greatest video I've ever made. This is the tier list. Self-help guru tier list. Now, before we go crazy on these people, I just want to preface that I have no ill will towards any of the people that I'm going to be talking about today. In fact, I have, what's the opposite of ill will? Positive will towards a lot of, at least the core of what these people are saying. They're trying to promote a positive message out there to the youth, to the children, to young men out there, to disenfranchised people. So I just want to say that before I go too hard into this. And they all have a various amount of respect that is well-deserved. At the very least, about their oratory capabilities, or the fact that they're so influential. So without a further ado, this is it. This is it, my friends. So first of all, who are we going to start off with? We're going to start off with an easy one, with a crowd pleaser, Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate. I mean, what has been like unsaid about this guy? This guy's been criticized in every single angle, in every single way. So we're going to look at the positives of what he's done, and then we can compare some of the negatives. So the positives: he has influenced so many young people, so many young men out there to go to the gym, pursue that. Money making as well, which I think is honestly, as a capitalist, as a libertarian, I think that is a great thing. I think you should pursue wealth, gaining capital at all cost. The third thing is I think he's promoting distrust in the government, and as a fellow Chud, distrust of the government is one of my top values in life. You need to distrust the government. You need to distrust wherever you live. Unless if you live in South Korea or Singapore or one of these golden countries, you need to distrust the government as much as you can. I think they're pretty evil. They're run by Satanists. I'm pretty sure that's like a fact. That's not even like a thing you need to discuss. So I think those are positive things. I think one of the negatives is that he might... I have no idea if he has I've done my research and I have no idea if he had a sex ring or is accused of that sort of stuff. I'm just gonna go on the premise that he has not committed any of that, sort of sex trafficking sort of work. But what he has done is that he has run a cam whore website, and secondly, he was a pretty devout atheist. Like, if you go to his past videos, he is like one of the most Richard Dawkins-esque atheists out there. And of course, we're not going to judge him on his past completely, but just those two things exist, and that definitely reduces him in the ranking. I also think that his hits, as of late, are not really as controversial as they once were. The takes aren't as good. But maybe that's like a positive thing. Maybe because he was once so popular, all of these takes, all of these opinions have just gone so mainstream that you need to go even more mainstream. You got to go even more niche, even more crazy than what he said before. So the influence, the everything, would put him at S tier, but just the fact that he was such a devout atheist. He did a lot of sex trafficking work. And I'm not against a little bit, like a Dan Bilzerian, just a little drop. But he was pretty he was heavy into it. He was like the manager. He was typing. He was typing to men, saying he was pretending he was a woman and typing to men. I think that's a little bit sus, even if it is in the pursuit of money, which I do respect. There's just so many different layers. So I'm sorry for all the Tate fanboys out there, but I have to put him in B tier. I have to put him in B tier. Jordan B. Peterson. I have never seen a bigger fall off than Jordan B. Peterson. This man, back in the day, from 2016, to like 2020, this guy was literally unstoppable. And it seems like almost unrecognizable than what he is today, because today he just seems like this old boomer, this old shriveled up old boomer who loves Israel and cannot take any amount of criticism on Twitter, and is addicted to pills. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I think he's pretty sure he's addicted to pills. He's on a carnivore only diet, on a beef, not even a carnivore, on a beef only diet. There's just so much like negative of what he's done now, but at the same time there's so much positive that he has done now. And it's almost like these things is like either you die a hero, you die Aziz, or you live long enough to see yourself become cringe. So that's kind of a sad thing. Let's say if Jordan B. Peterson had died in 2019, he would be remembered today, just as Charlie Kirk will be remembered for generations and generations. But unfortunately, he's still here, and he's still spitting boomer L takes, spitting takes like, oh my god, Gen Z needs to work harder. That's the reason why our previous generation was so much better off. These sort of milquetoast takes. So I'm sorry, Jordan B. Peterson. He was so influential, though. That's like the thing, is that he kind of was the genesis for the right-wing manosphere movement, if you really think about it. I mean, who did you have? Hamza at the time? You had Hamza at the time, and you had Jordan B. Peterson. Those the two main guys. So I feel bad, but I gotta put him with Tate. And I know these people, they both hate each other so much. Tate and Jordan B. Peterson, the rivalry goes crazy. But I'm sorry, I just have to put him in B tier. Who else are we gonna have? We're gonna have a fun one. We're gonna have the guy, the subtle art of not giving a fuck guy, the airplane manosphere guy, the subtle art of not giving a fuck guy. And he makes video essays now about the decline of natality rate in South Korea, which is pretty crazy. But the subtle art of not giving a fuck guy is the most unbased self-help person I've ever seen in my whole life. First of all, he's not fit in any way, and I'm not sitting at a crazy position, but I feel if you are a person giving out opinions, you either one have to be super smart, super eloquent, like a Jordan B. Peterson type, or potentially a Sam Ovens type, or super knowledgeable in your thing. Secondly, you have to be amazingly successful, like Alex Hormozy, like Sam Ovens, like Charlie Morgan. You got to be ultra successful. Or third, you got to be jacked, or know how to fight, or look tough. Those are the three things if you want to be a self-help guru. And this guy has nothing. I mean, you can remarkably say he was successful, but he was successful as a pickup artist, which is not that difficult. It's not rocket science, It's not an amazing, I don't get these people that get so famous out of seducing women. It's not that difficult, even as a chud. Isn't it just a numbers game? I mean, you tell me, but I don't know. I don't think it's not something that should be awarded, getting as much women and sleeping with as much women as possible. I think it's actually a negative if you are that type of person that goes around and sleeps with a bunch of women. I think we should value in our society having one woman. Doesn't that seem normal? Doesn't that seem according to what the Bible and what traditions teach? I'm not crazy, But anyway, beyond that, he got initially famous for making a dating book, and then he got super famous with the subtle art of not giving a fuck. And the very fact that when you go and purchase this book, the fuck is censored, just goes to show that this guy gives a fuck. This guy is a grifter. This guy is a faker. this guy is a person that is a cash grabber. All of his other books after the super successful Not Giving a Fuck book has been like the same sort of line, or has been biographies for other people. He's written the biography of Will Smith. This guy is like, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I think this guy is like a hack. This guy's like what your mom would give you to motivate you because you're a chud who plays a Fallout every day. So this guy is, I think, is the worst out of everybody here, if I'm being frank. And there are some pretty bad people in your eyes, in my eyes too as well. But this guy's the most negative. This guy's spouted the most uselessness in there. I'd rather have somebody who's controversial, even if I don't agree with him, than somebody who just spits out milk toast, go to the gym 1 day per week, subtle art of giving a fuck. This guy is subtly giving a fuck by not having and censoring his book, is what I'm trying to say. I think this guy's a scam artist. Do not listen to this guy. Do not watch his YouTube videos. Do not read his book. I unfortunately read his book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and it was the worst book, and it has not helped me one single iota, one single ounce. And so many other self-help books have been amazing, have been great. Not this one, okay? Anyway, who are we gonna go on next? Chris Williamson. Chris Williamson, I don't think he is like a person that you should like. The thing is that I'm not trying to be an asshole, but Chris Williamson. Okay, how do I put this in like the nicest way possible? So if you don't know who Chris Williamson is, he has a podcast. He has a podcast where he gets on a bunch of self-help people, or sometimes even comedians, and he tries to pick at them and take away what the information that you can take home with you. And that's something that I find very cool and very useful information wise. The only problem that I find with him per se, and I'm not talking about his podcast, because I think his podcast is phenomenal, one of the best podcasts in the game, but I'm talking about specifically him and how he got to this position. And I'm not trying to be like a communist, like capitalistic is bad and the free market is bad, but how the fuck, like this guy like proves that looks maxing is real. This guy proves that lookism, if you don't know, is racism, but based on appearance. So if a person is ugly, you will treat them worse. As a person is attractive, you will treat them a lot better. I think, like, unless if you are like incredible Disney Funko Pop type person, this is true. No matter, you can have different degrees, but it is like globally it is true. It's a fact. It's a fact I'm pretty sure it's a fact by God. It's written in the Bible. The few that have the little that somebody has, that will be taken away, and the lot that somebody has, even that will be added upon him. I think I butchered that Bible verse, but it goes something, that teaching goes something along that. So modern wisdom, he started off as a reality TV star, got sick of it because it wasn't philosophical enough. It was draining him philosophy-wise, and I get that. I think that's a great thing. And then he decides to create his own podcast and get people on. And I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I think podcasts, like, in order to have a podcast, you need to be able to say something, and you need to be able to have something of value to bring to the world. And I think being a Chad-looking guy who goes to the gym, I mean, that's great, getting on, but I don't think that you need to have something more. You need to have something deeper than that. And I just think that Chris Williamson doesn't really have that. I think he's just proves that good looks will carry you no matter who you are. They're just like, if you take away the looks, if you remove, imagine if you looked like me, right? Imagine if Chris Williamson looked like me. If you looked like Nick Fuentes, for example, if he looked skinny, if he was like a 5 out of 10 guy, he doesn't have a handsome face, He didn't have a ripped body. He was just like this normal guy. Would you listen to his fucking, and didn't have like crazy special effects? Would you listen to the podcast of him talking about his life lessons and shit like that? Would you listen to me talking for 2 hours about my life lessons, what I've learned in the last year? Like, no. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think this guy should get, I don't know. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I think this guy deserves a C tier. Now we're going to go on to more positive people that I like, and I think we're going to start off with Charlie Morgan. And I think Charlie Morgan, if you don't know what he is he's one of these Iman Gaji, Sam Ovens, Alex Hormozi business type people. And basically he has a consulting business, and he sells, I don't even know what the fuck he sells, to be honest. I think he sells like how to make a consulting business. So he's a consultant that sells you how to sell your consulting business. And I think he's pretty truthful, and I think he's pretty good in the information that he gives you. And he has the super long, amazing videos that last like 3 hours long, which are some of the best videos that you can take. Is a guy who is not knowledgeable and that has made money, and a shit ton of money, which this guy has done. Doesn't come from like a Harvard elite background. He was poor, quite poor when he was young. And secondly, he doesn't have like these amazing physical features, top tier genetics as modern wisdom Chris Williamson has. And so for that reason, I think you can trust a lot of what he says. And is there a little bit of sales trying to get you to his consulting course or whatever? Yes. But mainly, I think there's a lot of truth and a lot of the good stuff that you can take there. And the proof is in the pudding. I mean, he's one of the most richest guys in this space. And he doesn't have crazy editing. He doesn't have fucking a billion different people working for him like Iman Gaji, and he doesn't have these as much scummy tactics as Iman Gaji has. And Iman Gaji, if he was on this list, I think he was on C tier, because he has done some very scummy, very weird stuff in the past. And you can say, oh my, what information do you have? You're just a big hater. You're just a big hater because he's richer than you. And that is partly true. We cannot escape jealousy. It's written in the Bible, Cain and Abel. We cannot escape jealousy. It's just a part of our life. But secondly, I would say that he has basically had this series where he was saying this was like back when Andrew Tate was like prime. And he was saying like the Matrix he had like the documentary series. And he was going to say, and he said that like this video had been deleted because it had so much truthful information, when in fact he's the one who removed the video himself. He was like claiming that he was attacked by the Matrix when it was just a fabrication. It was just a big fugazi. I don't trust him. You lie once. What is it? The fuck, the Texas saying that George Bush said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. What is it? I don't remember. But like, shame on me. Whatever the fuck. Shame on me. Shame on myself. If you fall for Iman Gaji with the stuff that he's already said, shame on you. So, yeah. I was butchered that saying, but you know what I mean. Hello, everybody. I'm sorry for the little wait. I'm sorry, I just had an Amazon delivery. But we're going to be talking about today about one of the most autistic men on the planet, and that is Clvicular. But a person that is proven what he claims to be true. He has started off with a thesis, which is looks are one of the most important things in life, and you will be judged a lot about your looks. And unfortunately, or fortunately, what he has said has pretty much, his prophecy has pretty much come true. He started off his career as somebody who was relatively normal looking. I would argue maybe a little bit sub what a middle of the pack person to get a little bit more handsome, and accompanied with his personality, with severely autistic personality, he has attained a level of fame that is quite remarkable, especially for a man his age. He's younger than me. I'm 21. I believe he is 20 or 19, I believe, and it's, kudos to him. It's an insane that he has achieved this. And it pretty much proves his thesis that looks are one of the most important factors in life. And unfortunate, but that is true. Is that true in every single scenario? No. But is it true in like 90 or 95% or even 99% of the scenarios? A lot of the time, yes. And if you're honest with yourself, a person who looks ugly needs to put out so much more, needs to be like insanely charismatic, needs to be insanely more presentable, needs to dress a lot better in order to capture your attention. I'm sure a lot of you have judged me because I don't look the best. I have a little bit of acne. I'm a little bit skinny. I don't look like I go to the gym. So it took me a lot more time to get your attention. People on social media. It's a lot easier for people on social media who are good looking. They just show their face. They do a little bit of dances here and there, and then they get insanely famous. This is I use modern wisdom, but at least he's very eloquent and he knows how to get good guest speakers. But what has Marlon done? Except for being good looking and being 6'4" or whatever his height is. Nothing really. And so is it a good goal to attempt to become good looking? I think so. I think we've proved that it is how dark our society is. It is insanely vain, and it is much more vain than it was in the past. What proof do I have? Back in the day, in the 60s and the 70s, you saw actors, and they were just normal-looking guys. They were normally-looking guys like you and me. But now the level of attractiveness and the level of how good-looking an actor must be is, like, insane. So I think it's... and the amount of good-looking people also that we see now is, like, insane. Back in the day, back in the caveman days, they would see one good-looking woman in their whole life, and that would be, like... They're everything, but now it's just every single day you see supermodels everywhere you go. You go down the street, you see the perfume ads and shit like that, and there's like every single one of them is like a supermodel. So I think we're getting a lot more perverse. So I think trying to attempt to become as good looking as possible, and even that using the most extreme methods possible, which is definitely dangerous. I don't think that the reason why Clvicular is successful is extremely worrisome, and it's extremely toxic that it's come to this point, but he's right. He didn't cause any of this. He didn't invent like lookisms or racism based on looks to be a reality. He's just noticed a pattern that was there well before, that was there for, you could argue, since all of humanity. And he has pointed, and obviously there's people been before that are trying to improve their looks and everything like that, but it's never to this degree. So I don't view him as like this terrible evil monster. This guy who goes around calling women ugly and foids and everything like that. Even though he does that mostly for comedic effect. But I don't view him as an evil person. I view him as right. Do I think personality-wise, do I think he's a good guy? Not really, but I don't view him as evil. And essentially, he's right. Essentially. Maybe like 99% of the time, he might be wrong in that 1% of time when there's a really good actor who is ugly and shit like that. Like, of course. And of course, not everything is based on looks. I think a lot more of reality is, for you at least, is based on your essence and how you feel about yourself and how you project to the world. In other words, like how you pray, how you think, your thoughts and everything. That will be a lot more I think we can control reality is what I'm trying to say. I'm a little bit schizo. But still, I think looks are important, and I think you should take care of yourself. And you know what? I think I'm going to go hop on a looks maxing schedule. I think I'm going to hop on all the programs, all the steroids and everything like that. And yeah, I do agree with, I think a lot of you people that are typing up a mean comment right now, that promoting steroids is a bad thing, promoting drugs and peptides are a bad thing. But I believe that he's not he's not directly promoting this, and I think he's being very clear that this is what I take, this is not necessarily what you should take. And it's kind of the fault of the consumer to be a retard and just buy whatever this influencer says. So I don't know. I don't view him as evil, and I view him as right, and I think it's very sad that he's right, but he is right. So I think we're going to put him in A tier. An S tier, we want to put him in S tier because no human is perfect. We all fall short of the grace of God. So that's what I'm going to say. Now we're going to go on with more interesting people, with people who are more into the business side of life. Because you want to become good looking, but the other flip side of that is the red pill is the money maxing. And we have some of the most influential money maxing people out there. And I don't know why this guy is in here 2 times. Fault of my editor, so just blame my editor. Keep that in mind. If there's any problem with the video, please remind to blame the editor. Blame the fucking editor. He caused all of this problems. He caused all of this. Everything that you see that's wrong with the video is the editor's fault. Remember that. If the jokes don't land, it's the editor's fault. Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins is a person that is the most type A. Type A, if you don't know what that means, type A personality. Extremely outgoing, extremely extroverted, and extremely ambitious. It is your sort of Donald Trump, Gordon Gekko, Wolf of Wall Street type personality. He's the most type A personality that you can ever imagine. And is some of that good? That is insanely good and insanely motivating for a large amount of people. I think people who sort of the American-minded, if you will, people that are kind of down on their luck. This can be insanely motivating for a lot of people. And I'm not trying to be an asshole when I say this, but I think for people who have a little bit lower end on the IQ spectrum, I think Tony Robbins is extremely effective towards these people. He might not be effective for you, and he's probably not effective for me either. But it's just such a fact, the amount of people that he's helped, the amount of people that he's influenced positively, and I mean purely positively. He does sell a lot of stuff, and he does make a lot of money, but the way that he does it, I don't see much of a negative there. Maybe he's skimming a little bit too much off the top, but it's not the same as Andrew Tate, which is a literal pyramid scheme. Maybe there's a little bit of pyramid scheme in there, but pyramid schemes in there. But essentially what I've seen him throughout this long and insane career, he's trying to make you build wealth, and he's trying to make you build happiness. And maybe it doesn't really work on me, to be quite frank, but just the amount of impact that this person has had and the amount of positive impact that Tony Robbins has had. And it sounds insane saying this because he's such a caricature of an American, caricature of a type A person, that he seems so scummy, and he seems like you want to hate him so much. But the fact is, he's brought in so much happiness into the universe. There's nothing more than to say that you got to commend this motherfucker. So I'm sorry, Tony Robbins. I haven't read everything that he's done, but the amount of the little that I've seen is so positive, so type A, so impactful. It doesn't really work for me. I need more people who are potentially a little bit more darker, people a little bit more introverted, a little bit, edgier is my personal liking. But I think if you are the type of person who is bright, who is beaming with like energy and beaming with like the God's glow, if you will, this person is like perfect. Like, I'm not trying to glaze. This is one of the biggest glazes of all time. And you're going to call me like a dick sucker in the comments, I know. But this person has so much of God's like glow, God's like passion. You know what I mean? Like God's passion. He's not perfect, and I think he has some problems down the line, and he's probably scammed a little bit of people here and there, but the amount of like positive energy that he's put into the world is something that should be commendable. So I'm gonna put him in S tier. And on the flip side, the more darker, manipulative, esoteric, Freemasonry. On the other end is Zurka, John Zurka. Similarly with Andrew Tate, I think he's right about women 95% of the time. I think he goes a little bit too hard, but at the same time, I don't view like getting women and being a person who is known for getting women and getting women on screen. I don't view that. Maybe you differ with me, but I don't view that as like a respectable thing. I view that as more like embracing sin, like a Luciferian type thing, going into the deep end of debauchery a little bit. Maybe I'm just a fucking, what's that called? Maybe I'm just a Protestant. Maybe I'm not a Catholic. Maybe I'm not an atheist, but I just don't view it as like respectable thing to do, just sleeping around with a bunch of women. I think it's actually like kind of a disgusting thing, in my opinion. But I kind of like what he talks about. I like his conspiracy stuff. I think he goes really deep into that. I don't know if he's super knowledgeable, but the way that he speaks about it is entertaining, and I can't really hate on the guy too much. But I just don't like the women stuff. I don't like the date IQ, and that's kind of how he got famous. And it's just a little bit poisoning the well of society, which I don't like. And does he kind of have that thing of like the Clvicular thing, where he analyzes a problem and he notices the problem instead of being the source of the problem? He's just the one who analyzes it and figures it out. Yes, but I still think that he plays into it. And just not the same as Clvicular sort of explains it. He is actively participating in it. So A tier. Not A tier. I think B tier. We're going to put him above Tate. We're putting him above Andrew Tate. And Chris Williamson. I know what you're saying in the comments. If you know who Chris Williamson is, you're going to say, oh my God, I can't believe he put Chris. But what has this motherfucker done? You know, that's what I think. Sam Ovens is probably the one that you don't know who he is, but he is getting the biggest S tier on this list. I think he's the most helpful person on this list by far, I believe, at least for me. He's severely autistic, more autistic than Clvicular. As you notice, the more up that you get, the more autistic the person becomes. He is one of the most autistic men you'll ever see, but he's one of the smartest. And I'm not being like Jordan Peterson smart, like he knows how to use words and everything like that. He knows how to think of ideas. He knows how to think logistically. And he knows how to think in like that sort of Bill Gates, engineering, if you will, type mind for entrepreneurship. So if you're at all interested in making a business, if you're at all interested in that sort of entrepreneurship, making money, don't listen to all these fucking bullshitters of like, oh my God, I made side hustles that will give you $2 billion per week or shit like that. Like, think about it deeply, think about it longly, find something that you have a certain passion about, and then just focus on that. Is the little I can say, but he definitely has a lot more that can be offered. So I really recommend to check his channel. He's the only one that I'm really going to plug, and the real one that I recommend out of everybody here. I think a lot of these people, they delve into even Charlie Morgan, they delve into the shorts, they delve into content creation, they delve into becoming famous. He's the only one who just, I feel like, not everybody, obviously everybody on this platform is like, has a little bit of evilness and a little bit of the devil that's trying to sell all the time. But he's the only one that I feel like gives the most positive information. So I think I'm going to put him in S tier, and I'm going to put him above Tony Robbins. He doesn't have the glow of Tony Robbins. He doesn't have the same like joyousness, and potentially he's not going to make you do the same actions as Tony Robbins is going to do. But on the flip side, he has the most analytical, comprehensive, smartest way to improve your life, mainly through business. He thinks very, very business-like. Money's the only thing that really matters. When you feel like that when you watch his channel, but it is like one of the most productive. If I was going to have Alex Hormozi, which I forgot to add, but if I was going to add Alex Hormozi, I think Alex Hormozi has some great advice, and I think he has some top tier advice. I would put him in S tier, but I would put him right behind, either I'll put him at the top of A tier, or I would put him at the bottom of S tier. He does have solid, great advice. But it's just he plays a lot into those shorts, which I just don't like. And he plays a lot into this cringe editing, which I don't really like. And you could say Tony Robbins does it too, but he's a little bit older. He's been there a lot longer. He plays into Alex Hormozi has a lot of that Mr. Beast, like toxic energy. Effects, special effects, and editing. And also he said some cringe stuff. He said some pedophilic shit on a podcast. So that's the reason why he's going to go into A tier. But beyond that, he has some good advice and some good just do the work, bro advice. But I think that Sam Ovens has that same advice and has that same mental, but it's a lot more like smart, and it's a lot more refined, if you will. So I really recommend Sam Ovens. He's the best out of the money-making people. Charlie Morgan is the new version, the new and improved version of Sam Ovens. I think he got inspired by the course that Sam Ovens was making. So I believe that Charlie Morgan is not to be an asshole once again, but the slightly downgraded, or maybe in your world, upgraded version of Sam Ovens. I just think he has the same amount of it. He has the same sort of information that Sam Ovens has. Business, think in logistics, think smartly, think like Darwin, think like processes, the Hegelian dialectics, applying philosophy, applying Greek thinking, philosophical Stoic thinking to business. I'm obviously paraphrasing here. But do I think he's smart, and do I think he gives good information? Yes, 100%. I would put him above Alex Hormozi, though. So he is third, Alex Hormozi would be fourth, Tony Robbins in second, and Sam Ovens is in first. Finally, to finish off the video, Jordan B. Peterson. The man, the myth, who started the red pill considerably. I think he's the one who popularized it. He's the one who got me into this sort of community, the guru space, if you will. I think he has had one of the biggest fall-offs that anybody has ever had in their whole career. Andrew Tate has had a considerable fall-off, but not as much as Jordan B. Peterson. In our economy right now, I don't think Jordan Peterson is cutting it. When's the last time you saw a good Jordan Peterson clip? The last time he actually got popular was when he did his Surrounded interview and got absolutely clowned and shit on. And he's not even a real Christian. Like, I'm sorry, you can't play this philosophical game. When somebody asks you, you're a Christian, like, you know what that means, and he knows what this means. He's just playing this little game for like clicks and farms. So
I don't respect him as much as I did. But at the same time, he has made one of the most beneficial books that people have read. I don't think it was, looking back, I don't think it was an amazing book, but it got people to the right direction. And that's like, I think a lot more terms in like results, and instead of like, I see a lot more of the positives than the negatives that these people have had. And I think a lot of these people have had some huge red, big fat negatives that they have done, but I see a lot more of the positive, and the Jordan Peterson positive is pretty good. It's pretty, the one thing that I say is that he had a more philosophical red pill. He wasn't like pure brutish, only make money, or only manipulate women like the John Zurka, Andrew Tate types. Neither the Sam Ovens, Tony Robbins, Charlie Morgan, make money type. He had something a little bit more subtle, which is something that we kind of forgot. And even if he was cringe, even if he was unbased, he served as like a grandpa figure for when we were a little bit dumber and we didn't know as much. So I have to condemn it. I have to give him my flowers. And for that reason, I have to put him in A tier, because I just can't put him. You know what? I'm going to do this. This is like cursed. This is cursed. Okay, Jordan P. Peterson in A, but low A, okay? Clvicular in B. I can't believe Clvicular is like 5th in this, but it's insane. This is an insane world we live in. Tristan Tate, Andrew Tate above Tristan Tate. No, John Zurka above Andrew Tate, then Andrew Tate, then Tristan Tate, then Modern Wisdom, then the guy who did The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. What a smug. Sorry, you can't. I think I've been a bit too negative in this video, so let's spread some positivity. You are unique, you are loved, and I hope that you will become successful. And I think that these people have laid out the plans for us and laid out a certain amount of, I think I take back what I said. I think that they're a lot finer and a lot smarter people than the people that I presented you today. But they come through effort, and they come through reading, and they come through, and you're not going to find like this insane business idea really from Alex Hormozy, really from Sam Ovens, really from even the S tier people, and certainly not the B to C, D tier people. You're going to find like a real actual thing they're going to take with you from good books. So if I had to give a short list of books to tell you to read and to get the most information out of, and you can disagree with me, but this is just my personal list. First of all, the Bible. By far, you should read. There's so much amount of wisdom in that, it's insane. It's not. I don't think it should be considered a book. It should be considered like its own thing. But yeah, the Bible, the Scripture. Can't like. It feels like crude me telling you about it, but it is true. Secondly, the Hagakure. This was the right at the till end. So just when samurais were starting to become useless to society and were just pretty much like glorified bodyguards, this was like how to become a man for its time. And it was so like revolutionary that it was given to kamikaze pilots. This was like years after it was published, but it was given to kamikaze pilots right before they were heading into combat to prep them to serve their master and to go in a fight and become the very best that they could possibly be. And I think that's like a good mentality to have, is the burning of the bridges mentality, where you just go ahead and you just die for the thing that you believe in. So I think that's a great book and explains it very well. Thirdly, I would go for Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, and that is like, what you think in your head will come to fruition, is the best way to say it, but it's a perfect 10 out of 10 book. It explains so much. Fourth is How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think people have like said this like a billion times. It is the best book on public speaking. It is the best book on how to make friends, obviously. and the best book on how to influence people. And fifth, the second best book on how to influence people, fifth book is Influence by Robert Cialdini. I haven't finished the book, I just started it, but it is, from the little that I read and the amount of praise that it gets on the internet and the amount of charitable things that are said by this book on the internet, I think it's a really good book and I really recommend it to you. And then number 6 is the Tao Te Ching. Perfect book. What more can I say? Just a philosophical masterpiece. And if I'm going to be terribly honest, it is better than Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius, what a prick. What an asshole. I'm joking. Marcus Aurelius Meditations, obviously a great book. But I think Tao Te Ching is a little bit better. We can classify, we can rank them together. We can rank, maybe we can have a video where we rank books. I think that could be very fun. So thank you so much for watching. Please don't spread do not comment. Do not stop using social media. Stop commenting, stop liking, stop disliking. You should consider these people as they're not your friends. You don't know them. And they're just teachers, glorified teachers. That you should have no personal things because they don't know who you are and they will never know who you are. So thank you so much for watching and have yourselves a beautiful and blessed day.